All right, so let's preview our last game here, the College Football National Championship. It's TCU, the TCU Horned Frogs, versus my dog just sneezed. It's TCU Horned Frogs versus the Georgia Bulldogs. Storylines for this game. So TCU getting in this game. This is great for college football, no matter what. Like there's in the 8 years of the playoff, there's only been 6 teams to ever play in the championship. TCU, it felt like there was only like 10 teams that were really ever like had like a chance to actually play in this game. And like TCU getting to this point is massive. Like we talked about, its implication for the 12 team is huge, but this is a huge thing for the sports. Like regardless of the score of this game, TCU is walking away a winner. This is a huge deal for the school. This is a big deal for just college football as a whole. Like TCU is going to is walking away the winner of this game no matter what. And it's not like an original take. Like everyone knows this, but like it's like TCU getting this game is one of the greatest stories like in college football the past decade, maybe in like college football history. It's one of the best stories.
Yeah, absolute Cinderella story.
Yeah, I mean they were unranked to start the year. Mm-hmm. They did not make a bowl game last year, and like in a first year head coach, they like they're making it to the national championship. That's massive. Other things. So Stetson Bennett is seeking to become the third quarterback ever to win back-to-back national championships. AJ McCarron won back-to-back in 2011, 2012 with Alabama. And then Tommy Frazier of Nebraska won in 1994 and 1995. If you ask Nebraska fans, they will tell you that was 2 weeks ago because that is where they live. It was in the 90s. But
I thought it was. It won 2 weeks ago?
No, it was not. It was almost 30 years ago.
Ooh,
but,
man.
yeah. So there's a lot at stake for this game. This is going to be a historic game, no matter what. Also, it's historic too. This is great for our fans because because it's only one more week of this fake Joey act with TCU guys. There's only one more week.
How can you call this?
There's
fake?
only one more week.
Hey, Grant, don't get too ahead of yourself. The basketball team is like 13-1 now. He's going to jump on that bandwagon here soon too.
Oh, shoot.
I picked them in my Final Four. Before the season,
because
how's that a bandwagon?
Because it's fake. Because it's super fake. All right. No one thinks you actually care about.
Zach likes Rutgers.
I mean, he's not like
pays my bills because that Rutgers degree pays
TCU's
my bills.
Gonna pay mine.
Going to.
But we're gonna be in the same situation.
When's the last time you've been to a TCU game? Football, basketball?
Last year.
Let's move on.
I went to a football
game. Continue on.
I'm so sick of this fake thing. I need this game to be over with. So let's get into like what we actually think is going to happen though. So we saw kind of two sides of these teams that we hadn't really seen before. Like TCU played a kind of a different style. Like they were like Max Duggan played like a super okay game. Like he only completed 14 passes, but they put up 51 points anyway last week. And then Georgia, the impenetrable defense, got lit up last weekend too. So like how are we accounting we've seen these teams have to win in different ways than we had seen before. How do we account that for this game?
So Grant, you kind of mentioned it earlier. Marvin Harrison Jr. kind of was dominating these guys until he got hurt, right? I'm not comparing him to Quinn Johnson, but that's kind of like Marvin Harrison's obviously a much better route runner. QJ's kind of the guy you just throw it up to, but that's what kind of kills these Georgia Bulldogs is that deep ball, right?
Yeah, it's throwing it deep.
So that might be something to look out for. And then you got Amari DiMarcado. I think he really flowered last week, the backup running back when Kendre Miller went down for TCU. So that's going to be important if he continues to play well, because like the Max Duggan run threat. If you have their running back also being a threat and that deep ball, it's going to be tough. It might be tough for Georgia to keep up. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting. Like TCU should be taking the Ohio State game plan and just see how can we replicate this as much as possible and then not be total cowards at the end of the game and just go try and win this game. Because if they can do that, they're going to win. Like if they can replicate that perfectly, then they're going to win. Like that was the first time we had seen Georgia look super vulnerable and in like real trouble, like convinced trouble. Like I know they were like they were down like by like Kent State went up like 7-3 at one point against them or whatever. Like no one was like, oh, Kent State's gonna win this game. Like if you were like I genuinely believe for like pretty much this entire game that Ohio State was gonna win. Like it felt like that the whole time. So like TCU should just be like looking at that and been like, oh, well, we can kick field goals, so we should just like replicate this one. Other things to consider. So at 12.5, is TCU going to be the public side here? Plus, I feel like everyone like loves like the Hypnotoad and stuff, and everyone's like TCU just is gonna like shock the world or whatever. Like, is TCU gonna be the public side here against the Georgia Bulldogs?
I think they are.
Like, I think they are too. Like, I think like 60% of the bets could be on TCU. Like, every college kid in the world is gonna go bet on the Frogs. Like I don't know if I would have ever seen, like, if I ever thought that would happen, but like I was sitting down thinking about this. I was like, there's not going to be a lot of people that are taking the Georgia Bulldogs in this game. Like at 12 and a half. I don't know.
It's going to be tough.
Yeah. So let's kind of talk a little bit about let's pick sides here. All right. So let's go to Zach first.
Whatever I say, if you listen to this podcast, whatever I say, whatever analysis I give you, and whatever side I pick the absolute opposite side, especially when it comes to TCU.
Yeah. If you went 28-14, if you did that in bowl season.
Yes, in the bowl season. And if
you had an unreal run.
Yes, it was all time. And if you've listened to my TCU picks all year, you've made a lot of money off of TCU, picking the opposite. With that said, Grant, you brought up something, and you said something that I think is very, very telling. That semifinal game, you saw the two winners of that semifinal games almost have two different styles of winning the football games that they haven't had all year. With that said, I think Georgia covers.
Yes.
I think Georgia wins very comfortably.
That's huge.
For multiple reasons. One, Georgia's defense is not what that was. It got exposed. That staff, Kirby staff, film. You had time off. You probably had Georgia thinking they were going to blow them out. At the end of the day, they snuck by just because they got better athletes and players. TCU, fantastic win. It is the best story. This is awesome. Great color scheme. Everything about TCU you have to love. However, let's just break down that Michigan game. They snuck a total of 28 points. As my daughter's giving me this out, even she's picking TCU in this game. But you got to think, you had the two pick sixes that were just awful, awful passes. You had the two goal line fumble, or you had the fourth down call, which was just a terrible call. You had the goal line fumble. That's 28 points. And the most daunting thing in sports, especially in college athletics, and I'm going to stick to it, is playing Georgia the very first time. TCU is really, really good. They're in the national championship. They have not played Georgia. I think Georgia fixes the mistakes they made. I think they tighten up that secondary. Now that it's going to come out of my mouth, I know it's going to happen. I think they're going to fix that deep ball, and I think they're pretty much going to control this game from beginning to end.
Okay, let's go to Joey.
There you go.
So let's see. So Joey, can you pretend to at least be like a little like realistic here? Can you not like fake this act too much?
Guys, last week I picked TCU, but I was concerned. Do we not remember this? I was extremely concerned. I don't. Unconvinced. I was probably very unconvincing to any listeners.
Okay.
But this week I'm picking TCU again. 12.5 is a huge number. We made an Instagram post about it. They've got some voodoo magic going on where they're just going to be in this game somehow, whether it's defense, which has been weird, but that's how they were last week, or maybe some offense. Yeah, it's TCU, man. We'll see how this game goes, but that's my pick.
For my pick, I might go as far as to.
This didn't work last time.
I think I'm going to.
This didn't work last time.
I'm going to guarantee.
Didn't work last time.
I'm going to guarantee TCU.
How much money are you going to put on it?
I'm going to guarantee it. We don't talk about that on the show, but I'm going to guarantee.
Well, you're guaranteeing it.
I'm guaranteeing TCU plus 12.5. Yes, I'm going to guarantee it.
I'm going to put a large sum.
How large do I need?
That's up to you, man.
Okay.
You said this last time and they won.
I'm going to guarantee TCU plus 12. I'm going to guarantee it. Here's what I really like, though. Here's what I really like in this game. The total is at 62. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculously high to me. I think the play is under 62. Here's why. So I think everyone and their mom saw both these teams score a bunch of points, like on nearly 100-point games last week. And I think there's going to be a big overcorrection from that. Georgia is still a great defensive team. TCU has weapons on offense, but they do not have weapons like Ohio State does at wide receiver. Even when Marvin Harrison goes out of that game, they have 6 other guys that are that they all can throw to, that are like would be wide receiver number 1 at 95% of schools in Division I.
NFL players.
Yeah, easily. Like they have insane weapons. Like Georgia is not going. Like Georgia is probably like nothing against TCU. Like when we talked about Keenan Johnson, like Keenan Johnson's going to be a top 10 pick. Like he's very good, but like there's a big difference between having to just plan for him and having to plan for 4 of them with Ohio State. And especially like a guy like CJ Stroud who can throw the ball super well. So I think that's a different element here for Georgia's defense, and I think that they can use that film to help them here to hold TCU to less points. You also got to remember TCU, 2 of those points were pick sixes too. Like that's a lot, and that's kind of where I'm also really kind of liking under, because TCU really, like TCU's defense, like I know they scored 51 points, but TCU's defense won them that game. Like 2 pick sixes, like Michigan's O-line is arguably the best in the country, and they just made them look stupid. Like they got to JJ McCarthy all the time in this game. They just blitzed the crap out of him, and it worked perfectly. So I think that like I think TCU's defense is going to play a lot better than people are probably expecting them to. And with Georgia probably going to look to shut down Keenan Johnson. Like they're like I think TCU is just going to rely on their run with Max Johnson and Amari DiMercado and Kendra Miller, which is going to burn a lot of clock. Like I think this is going to be a lot more low scoring than people think potentially. And like this was similar to the national championship last year too. Like the total was super high, and then I think the halftime score was like 9-6. Like, and then like granted, like both teams like blew it up in the fourth quarter last year, but like I think this is going to be a lot lower than people expect.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's so like I'm gonna my favorite is under 62.
Under. Wow.
Yeah, which is no fun for a championship game, which is just no fun. But like you can still have a great game with that for sure. But I don't know. I don't see this being like another like 40-40 shootout. I don't see that happening.
Oh, those were fun though.
Those were fun, but like, and also like everyone always like, there's probably going to be a million deals on like DraftKings for the over for this game, like, and like we all know how that ends. So I really like I really like I think this will be fairly like I could see this game being like 28-20 or something like that, and then that's comfortable. So I don't think that's out of reason either for these guys.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
Nice. I don't know. I'm kind of skeptical about the under. It just, yeah, I don't know. I like the over. I'll probably take the over just because of the way the offense is played. I know there's going to be plenty of film study, but the way Sonny Dykes and his team prepared for Michigan last week, I think they're going to be able to come up with a game plan and really stick to it like they did against Michigan, and hopefully their defense plays. I'm not expecting 14 points out of TCU's defense again, but maybe a couple stops here and there.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is going to be an awesome game. I can't wait for this. This will be. I don't know when the next time we'll see TCU and Georgia meet on a field again. Hopefully in the 12-team playoff it happens, but I'm really excited for this game. I think it'll be a blast.
Yeah, it should be a ton of fun.
No, this will be super fun. Do you guys got anything else for this game?
Not for this one, man.
No, let's just I'm ready for it to happen. Let's make it happen.
This is going to be great.